Right. We're not live, we're recording. All right. So you want me to just jump in? But the last meeting we were discussing more looking into the zoning map and the use table to kind of see where we can talk, where we can tweak. And basically, what I thought would be a good starting point to really start honing in on some of these regs is to look at our business districts. So I know I mentioned in previous meetings, we have the B1 and B2 zoning districts. And those two districts in our use table have the exact same uses. And you will see in here, like when it comes to the commercial uses, pretty much everything is allowed in these districts. And then there's also some industrial uses, um, agricultural uses are pretty much allowed throughout. But there's not a lot of, I guess you would call it personality between the two districts. Where they differ is here. So this is the intensity of use regulations. So the intensity regarding setbacks, building height, the minimum lot area and frontage, that's all in this table. So B1 and B2 are separated in here, and the B1 district you'll see has smaller setbacks, so 20-foot front yard, 10-foot side yard, 20-foot rear yard. And the B2 has larger setbacks, so 30, 15, and 20. Not a lot bigger, but bigger. And they also have a larger building. So the B2 district, I think, is meant to be more in line with larger uses, things like a light commercial or commercial district. You want more separation to residential lots. You're allowing a bigger building.
That's probably the driver for the setback,
Correct.
the angle, the view.
Exactly. I think you're right. And the other thing too, there are some footnotes in here, and which I think are good. So this F, minimum side yard, and F for minimum rear yard, basically that gets increased to 30 feet if it's abutting an agricultural, suburban, residential, or multi-family district. Any residential district. Um, once again, indicating more a use that could cause a little bit more detriment to a residential property. The thing is that this is great, but if both B1 and B2 have the same uses allowed, then what exactly is the point of doing this? I mean, I guess it's
So I would argue, not knowing exactly where B2 is, I'm thinking there are areas in town which are residential or agricultural, and then you have a business that's there. So on Lake Street, for example. I'm thinking now, I guess it would be the southern end of Lake Street. There was used to be a business that ran steel engine repair, and now there's another business there, but it's right in the residential area.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me if you're next door to that, do you want business 15 feet right from your house or yard?
Yeah.
Or 30? So I can see how in certain areas it would make sense to have a little bit more of that buffer there. If you're, say, you're still Bellingham, then you're going, by Stop and Shop, and in that area, having smaller sizes probably fits what's been there for years.
Right.
Yeah, you'll see when it comes to the B1, B2 districts, there's really not a whole lot of rhyme or reason where they're located. And no, I do not want to try to set a free trial.
But I have to wonder if B1 was original, right? B1, and then as other small areas started to open up, someone wants to open up a shop or do something, say, in a agricultural area, and that gets zoned to accept the business, but it was B2 to give more room.
So the orange is B2. So on Hartford Ave here, this is the gravel pit. Is it Kimball, I think, is over there? Or is it Marmy? Kimball, right? It's Kimball. Yeah, and then this is that junkyard. Plus, I think there's another zone. This might have been Wozniak's old property where his law office was. Yeah, but
It's right adjacent to that residential.
yeah, that one was suburban. This is Depot Street. So this is the plazas here. And then this is where it kind of gets funky. So pretty much the entire center is B1.
Right, the original, hold on, the one that has, yeah.
Correct. With one, this is the plaza, which is B2.
Okay,
Yeah,
Maybe they were trying to encourage some,
Higher?
yeah, like a
Yeah.
smaller development there.
Maybe. And then if we go down, this is the gas station, because this is the middle school and track over here. So this is that gas station and the, what used to be the farm stand, now it's that outdoor extensions, I think is what it's called. It's a farm. That's B2. B1, this is, where is this? I should probably zoom in to actually be able to tell. That's Scott Hill Boulevard. So there's, I think this is, yeah, what is this?
Is that where the bonsai place is?
No, that's further down, actually, sorry, that's bonsai, it's right here. So this is actually, I think,
the lawnmower place?
oh, yeah, it could be.
yes,
Used to be
yeah.
9 hours ago.
And this is where that Hindu temple was proposed and,
Well, they bought it.
yeah, they purchased it, they actually permitted it, so that's what that is, they call. This is where the other plaza is, Workout World Plaza, this is already a development with, that's the Toll Brothers old development. This is, I don't know what that, oh, this is, pretty sure that that's where
Is it
Executive
Executive
Auto,
Auto?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty sure that's where that
Yep.
is. This is Bellingham lumber over here.
Yeah.
And the garage here. And then this is all pretty much just residential. This is where the drive-in used to be. This is where we're at. Dave Moore Gas is, there's a few businesses over here, all residential on this side. This is that empty parcel that used to be Log Cabin Pizza and is
Oh, yeah, yeah.
permitted, there was a Korean farm that was gonna go in there years ago. All of Pulaski, I don't know what that is, and then this is Coachman's.
So is there something that shows for B1 and B2 what's actually not developed?
I can tell you, cause. So this lot is not built, but was permitted, that was the transition repair shop, that was just from the planning board. This is owned by the town.
Yeah.
And same with this, I believe. Some of these lots are residential. This is all developed, like, these are all residential, so this is that should just, in my opinion, become residential.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, it's a 40B, so it's gonna be 280. I think this is Vaughn's actually.
Still movie theater, right?
Yeah, that's the old drive-in. I think this is Vaughn's.
Oh, right.
I'm still
Yeah.
on.
Which people live above that, there's an apartment up there.
There is, yep. Like Bellingham lumber and
And the rest is all residential.
This is all
Yeah, Lake
residential,
Street
yeah.
Auto and then lumber and then the rest is.
all residential.
Duplexes.
Exactly, yeah, right on this side of Lake Street. This is kind of a mess, I think.
What's funny, just if I can digress for a second over to Lake Street.
Go down.
The, I believe that auto repair you were referring to is not, singled out. It must be grandfathered in, whatever, because it's north of Railroad Street, I believe.
Oh, this one over here? Yeah, there's there's
that's-
another, there's Lake Street Auto over here.
Right, the other place is I don't know what it is now, they have carpet.
It used to be,
something there now?
it used to be
Yeah, it used to be a repair
Yeah.
shop, because I used to bring my lawnmower there.
Yeah.
yeah, this is like that for.
Yeah, now he's in there now.
Yeah. I don't know why, that's over here, I think that's between, High Ridge.
Yeah.
And here, but these ones, really, it's just. This is Penny Lane, so I think this is the parcel that has the plaza. This is Charlie's Tire and the,
Pizza.
yeah, Blackhawk Pizza.
Yeah.
All of this residential, with the exception of this parcel, I believe, is Joliker Overhead Doors, the old Schaefer Nursery.
Oh, right.
Well, so the rest of this, though, is all residential. This, what did we say this was again?
That was the town line.
That's right. So really, it's just these two parcels. This is all residential. Matter of fact, I assume this is a private way of some sort.
Yeah, it looks like a
Like
cul-de-sac.
a subdivision or something. Oh, you know what this is actually? This is, there's a condo, development in here, townhouses. Pretty sure
Oh.
it's right off Scott Hill Boulevard. I never knew it
The breakfast
existed.
nook is up in there too, right?
Yeah, I think that's over here actually somewhere, or it might be up here.
It's further down.
Yeah, maybe further down.
Well, it's near Joliet, right?
It's not far from Whitehall Way.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
it's in here somewhere. So that one's father me.
They still have a house in the back. I think they live in the back, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they do. These are all constructed with the exception of, I believe, this lot. This lot. These are residential, and this is that commercial building, I think it's a daycare. This is the gas station, that teeny tiny little parcel, and then the rest is farm slash the outdoor structure thing. This is the garage. I do know that there has been interest regarding this parcel for future development, so.
Pretty good size.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
one, they're looking at potentially a date over here, could be a good use for that. I think we're all kind of familiar with that, which I'll get into all of this in a little bit, because there's some proposed uses slash changes, which I'll get into in a minute. But this is good to familiarize ourselves with what these zoning districts are. This is the gravel pit, I believe. This is not, no, this whole tract is wood. This, I believe, is the junkyard. And I think this is where Wozniak used to be. I think, but I don't hold me to that. He was somewhere over here in this area. I know that that sold within this recently. Plaza, and then similar here. Yeah, these are B1. That's Cumberland Farms here. This is undeveloped. We've had this parcel in front of the planning board numerous times that did not go too well. Again, the rest is residential with the exception of, I think this parcel is Rosewoods, I believe. Yeah, because this is Farm Street. Body shop here and the pizza place.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple businesses here. This is where that old house used to sit. It's now undeveloped. I think this is just 200 feet of frontage on the lot is zoned business one, and then.
You're gonna car dealership.
Yeah, I think that one's on the corner here. And then this is, I think it's a masonry place. They do like stone walls and stuff. Yeah. So that's all the business districts here. I think that covers all of them. Yeah, and then these are all businesses or residential. And on this side of South Maple are the commercial buildings. Yeah, so that pretty much covers everything. So, go into that. Just to make things simpler, I did put together thing here. Quick PowerPoint. If this
You're
wants
not
to
gonna
work.
put this building. So that's what you're looking to.
Yeah, so, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. Here's the first picture of that you have. Wherever that was, that's where I could see us.
The 60 strong tower, please.
Where else you go up?
Yeah, so.
Oh, no, sorry.
So here's the proposed Bellingham skyline. Silver Lake. So we kind of already went through this, but the B1, B2 districts have the same uses through it, which is just, it's not great. Because I think that you want to differentiate between the two in order to do more of a commercial district, more of a business district. And there's a few uses in here that I would specifically pluck out and some that I would add.
So you're saying we should keep the two?
I would
and
keep,
them.
I would keep the two, but I would add another column in the use regulations. So you have a B1 column and a B2 column. So you can kind of nip and tuck which uses you want for B1 and B2.
Yeah.
These are all suggestions, obviously, like that's why we're here to discuss. And I think we'll have more discussions. I'm just kind of, this is my first bite at the apple here, trying to figure out a good
Right away.
way. So the changes to the use table, as I mentioned, creating a new column to differentiate between the two business districts. I think what we want to do is try to make sure that one district is catering more towards business while the other one is catering more towards a commercial district. So in the next slide, I'll show you what I think we should add and subtract for really the B1. The B2 district, what I think we should do is keep it very similar to how it is now, where it really allows all business and light commercial uses, but put them in a specific area that would make sense for that sort of use. The B1 district, which will be a lot more catered towards like professional businesses, personal care, retail, and sort of thing. We can put that in areas where you want specifically, you don't want a gas station, you want a barber shop, like that sort of thing.
I mean, I would broadly define those things in brackets right after business district and commercial district. Just so, because that's gonna be the first question, what's the difference between the commercial district and?
Agree. I think, and that's why I just put this, I don't even know if you want to change them yet. If you want to keep them as B1 and B2, just to keep life easier, because whole thing is kind of taking little bits at the zoning bylaw, because if I'm going with a massive change to things, people aren't exactly here, they're gonna be very confused.
Yeah.
But I think once I show you the zoning map change that I'm recommending, I think people will kind of understand where at least I think we should go. But these are the uses that I think should be removed from the B1 districts that are currently in it. So auto, boat, or farm equipment sales, rental services, retail sale of gas, so that's just any gas station, major business complex, which is defined as a certain permit in our zoning bylaws, commercial radio transmission, laundry or dry cleaning plant, any heliport, in case, we decide we want a heliport in Bellingham. Probably don't want that in the center of town. The things that should be added to the use table, and these are things that they're not in the use table at all right now. And these are things that have come up that we've tried to kind of figure out where they would best meet the use table as is. And it's tricky because what happens is, for example, like a daycare. We don't have daycare specifically written in the use table, and there's nothing really in there that aligns closely with the daycare. So what our bylaws read is, if it's not specifically written in at the discretion of the zoning enforcement officer, it would have to go for a special permit in front of the ZBA, which in some cases is good, But if you have like a daycare, then I think, you know, if you went through a special permit with the planning board with the development plan, it would be a lot more beneficial for the whole review to be in front of one board, the special permit with the ZBA, because now you're gonna have issues with trying to figure out, okay, do we need to do a traffic study with ZBA? No, that's gonna be handled with the planning board, which hasn't been submitted yet. So it's all these, it's a little bit confusing. So like daycare, personal care services, laundromat, fitness center.
What does that mean, personal care?
So
services?
nail salons, things like that.
that's exactly,
Oh.
it. So like
Was
salons,
the 3D.
spas, barber shops, those sort of things. That's how it's defined. And that's the other thing too. Anything that's added to the use table will need to be defined, in my opinion, aggressively, because that's where you,
That's what I was just thinking,
yeah, so if anything gets
actually list the stuff as you just did.
correct, so like we wouldn't just add it to the use table, it would have to go in the definitions as well. So it's a little bit involved, but this is how we adapt to current times here. Yeah.
So maybe it's me, but what's the difference between a laundromat and a laundry?
Or dry cleaning plant. So the laundry or dry cleaning plant is defined as it's not a consumer based sort of, it's more of an industrial use. So if you look at the definition.
Oh, like you're servicing a bunch of hotels and you're doing commercial.
Yeah, dry cleaning.
Yes.
So it'd be like a Cintas type place?
That's
Oh, yes.
essentially what it's.
Okay.
Yes,
Versus a laundromat.
which is weird that I think what they intentionally were thinking was. Back, you know, a lot, we could accommodate a laundry or dry cleaning plant and a laundromat in the same district, because right now that's what's written.
It's laundry.
It's laundry, exactly.
I think maybe the difference might be, one is B2B,
Mhm.
because the other one's B2C.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I added in here too, car wash isn't defined. I do not recommend that in P1 district at all, but it's not defined in our use table, and that is something that it should be. That would be something that would be good in the B2 district. And then I also added in here, because this is something that comes up all the time, short-term rentals, just putting it in our use table as not allowed in any district, because this has been an ongoing fight with people. Luckily, nobody really has a leg to stand on if they wanted to try to permit short-term rentals in Bellingham. It would be very helpful for myself or Tim Harding to actually like use tables to see this is not.
It's fine by less than a year.
It would be,
You need to eat once a month, because there's, he says, well, I have a garage and I wanna rent it for 6 months.
it's defined in Mass General Law, but
Okay.
it's,
They mean nightly, they mean like Airbnb.
No, I
Yeah.
know, but that's why.
and hotel and motels aren't liable. And is one thing that is allowed, but I think it's allowed to be T1 and B2. I mean, the only hotel in town, sorry, it's motel, is, oh yeah, it's through, ZTAs,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, if you can develop the center of Bellingham, you can make that as attracting international guests, and start building hotels and nothing.
You're probably gonna need a, dry cleaning plant.
Yeah. So with that, so this is the current zoning map in the center of town. So the cursor, there it is. So this is all B1. This is Mendon Street. So all B1, this is Williams Way, which is all industrial, which in my opinion should stay industrial, because Williams Way is kind of the corner of town. Anything goes sort of thing. Wow.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay.
It's also the adult district.
It is the adult overlay, correct.
Do we need one of those?
Yeah, I think by law, you're required, I was like back in the early 2000s, state towns were required to have an adult overlay.
Interesting to see if it's.
Really?
Allowed.
I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly.
Wow.
Be interesting to see if it was still in play.
Now we know where the casino's going.
Yeah, I think. Do you want to add casinos to B1 or B2?
Can I actually see your list?
This is.
I can search hard copies.
So this is opposite Williams Way. B1, this is that Cove Machinery place. So this is all industrial. This used to be that used car sales place. So this is all industrial. I don't know what's on the opposite side. I think this is where that veterinary place is. There's a car rental place. And going towards the center of town, we all know kind of it's mix of residential, mix of it's actually residential houses that were converted into like dentist office. If there's the attorney,
Used to be Mass Renewables there,
yeah,
Bellingham Veterinary. And then there was a,
over here. Well, precursor.
And near that vet, there's a bunch of.
right there.
Yeah.
Bunch of heavy machinery.
Yeah, the guy who was renting that, what would I think? It's not allowed. B2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Rome wasn't built in a day, Phil. That's so I wasn't on that job.
storage for large machines, that's in Bellingham, correct?
The Copart place? No, that might include no, I wouldn't include this. I think that's further because that's across I can't think of the name of the road that's next to Lowell's. Because Lowell's is not in Bellingham.
Blackstone Street or, no, it's,
I forget what it is. But Copart is not in Bellingham.
Okay, because that site has got to become a Superfund site at some point.
Oh, yeah, brownfields.
Yeah, with all those cars leaking. Especially the front part where the wrecks come in, get dropped.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you on that one. But so anyway, and that's the center of town. These are all of the businesses that are going towards Blackstone Street, the Land Rover Automotive Place, Johnson Farm, there's the hotel, there's the post office, all that stuff. And then we get across Blackstone Street, and we start seeing more of a transition into the more commercialized stuff, the gas station, car wash, Primark, the strip malls, those sort of things. There's the daycare on this side. So, what I think would make sense is if you separate B1 and B2. B1 is more business, B2 is more commercial. And then you do this. So, B2, this would basically start after the common on Mendon Street, actually after this side street here. So, I believe there is a dental office here, and then going all the way down, rezone the B1 to B2. So this would be more of a commercial corridor. More in line with like the Victory Heating and Plumbing business that is on that street. We have that office building that's in permitting right now at 123 Mendon Street and for planning board. Contractor yards and heavy equipment are not allowed in the B2 district. So,
We, add in, so contractor yard, could we think about including the verbiage industrial outdoor storage? Because I know it's like, they're one and the same because it's,
I didn't know from here.
to do the same thing.
Well, I didn't include it in this, but I was thinking for accessory uses, add outdoor equipment material storage.
Okay, yeah, just because industry wise, that's what people call it nowadays.
Yeah,
So marketing materials, it's totally hiatus.
we run into this issue because I think the town initially was using bulk storage as the catch-all for these things. However,
Yeah.
there are ways around that. I mean, for example, the bulk storage is more for materials, but what I see now is we got a lot of equipment that's being stored. I think I mentioned that there's a property on Pulaski Boulevard that has roofing vans, tons of them on site with, their ladder racks. And so it's obvious that there's a business being run on the residential house, and it's on,
That's the one that paved the whole area?
yeah, it's not very stately. But I think that that would be really beneficial, and you could completely say no in the B1 district for that and limit it to the B2 district and industrial and specify, I probably wouldn't, you could maybe allow it by right in the industrial, but in the B2, I would definitely go through some special permit criteria for it. And one thing that I know Medway has done, they've actually capped state of equipment for outdoor storage. We ran into this. We were trying to permit an equipment rental company, and they had a lot of the jigs and the fizzle lift.
Yeah.
And with those, when they store them on site, if you've ever seen them, to accommodate the most amount of equipment in the space, they actually will lift up the arms so they can just bring in as many of those as possible. So you have like a 20-foot high lift in the air that's just there dormant for storage. And I think we were capped at like 12 or 15 feet. Otherwise, it required a special permit through ZBA. And even then, there was uses that wouldn't even allow a special permit through ZBA. So there are ways to like really regulate that. We lack those teeth right now. But it's something that I would probably put in, not as a use, but an accessory use. If that makes sense.
So from a strategy point of view, what I'm seeing is that we're looking at revise, adjusting the B1s and B2s
Correct.
from is the, I ask the question, it's a question. If we're looking at things like the center of town and areas that head out from the center of town, does the B1 do enough to develop and give the potential to develop the center of town without causing havoc in some of the other B1s?
It would.
And for example, if we're trying to develop the center of town.
That way through an overlay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so is it really a zoning, an overlay exercise, or is it a new district? I'm asking the question.
can we table that for a minute? Because we'll go over strategy after I have two more slides.
Okay.
And I have an idea. You bring up a good point. So just going back, B1, so the business district, basically from that neighborhood across from the common over, and everything within the town center, all the way to Blackstone Street, would be that B1 zone. Ultimately hoping for some type of nice pedestrian corridor, connects to the schools. It could be a very, very, very nice district. And then from Blackstone Street over down to the 495 corridor, that all gets changed to B2. I didn't touch any of these industrially zoned parcels. We can always look into that to make those B2s as well. I would probably segment it right now as just the business districts, because you're not going to mess with any nonconformities if you do that. And it's just an easier approach for town meeting. Like I said, I'll get to kind of the approach in a minute, but this would allow for the B2 district. You would be able to have your fast food drive-through restaurants, your car washes, your gas stations. If you want like Antron engineering, that would fit perfectly into what you would envision for a B2 district. There's also an HVAC company over here. who I think have actually, they want to do some improvements on their lot, I believe. They've alluded to, at least with me, so I think it's over here, that is yet, B2 district, that's perfect.
So the border towards Mendon, where you have the transition from B1 to B2,
Yep.
why that particular spot and not having it further? That's.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah,
So it kind of comes down to the strategy as far as kind of like you're alluding to, Steve, about, like what hasn't been developed. Because the whole idea too with this, and when I go over the approach, is you want to limit the possibility of seeing something come into Bellingham that, like, while we're trying to work through this, the developer takes advantage of the zoning that you may have changed temporarily to build something that you don't want. And I can tell you right now that, I'm gonna go back to the zoning. And I'll show you exactly.
So, Rob, so the idea is B1 would in theory be near residential areas? Because the use will be one that is cause chaos because of
Correct.
the proximity, and B2 will be those that are furthest away from
Correct.
residential.
You have some lots in here that are residentially zoned, but that would be considered B2, which.
yeah, but in this is also, right, you got, is there residential in here too? Isn't it like?
This is all residential.
Yeah, that's why I think your original line came down here.
It did.
So I was thinking, well, wouldn't it make, if we're trying to protect that area, make it walkable? Eventually, I'm thinking, having it further this way, then gives that more of a sidewalk, people are walking, it builds that community center.
It's not a bad idea, because really, like, on the northern side, this is where you have residential exclusive zone
Yeah.
lots with businesses mixed in, like this is Cranes 101 right here. So if you did do the B1 district, it might make sense to bring it over here. The reason why I brought it here, just for discussion, was, what you don't want, or what I wouldn't want, is to allow anything B2 over here, because there was somebody who was interested in doing a gas station on this undeveloped parcel, which in my opinion would be a harmful location for that, but, I don't want to open that up to anybody to potentially do that.
So can so when I look at B2, I see more buffering. Which would be, to me, would be closer to residential, those types of places. Which would be,
Buffer because you have more intense uses. So don't for,
you're closer to residentials.
correct. Yes, I mean, we can, if you are interested in potentially increasing the intensity for B1, it's definitely doable. I'm looking more at the uses right now to make it more,
Yeah.
more habitually, like I have a smaller lot, I would rather see a dentist office go in next door to me than,
Glue factory.
a blue factory, or like, well, you look at a use that's existing on Mendon Street, that would be close to like what you envision for a B2. I'd rather that than like Victory Heating and Plumbing. Victory Heating and Plumbing is a great business, but they are open 24 hours for emergencies. You don't see a lot of the vans come in and out during off hours, but you will probably see vehicles entering and exiting on like a Saturday during the day and Sunday morning. And while the dentist office, you will not have that issue.
Right, but a 30-foot buffer versus a 15.
Definitely. So that,
30 feet isn't that far.
what was it?
30 feet is not that far.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean,
Next to a residential.
Right.
It's
I
not.
was gonna say
15 feet.
Okay, lot.
Next door, that's.
Lane is 24 feet wide. That's not very wide, 30 feet. Going back to this, so just very quickly. The other thing that I looked at, this is the south end of town. All I was recommending was that Pulaski remains B1 as well. Now, as far as the approach goes, what I would recommend doing is doing this in 2 steps. If this is something that this board is interested in bringing to the planning board, for an article, but I think it would make sense to do the use table first and then rezone second in 2 separate steps. The reason being is, if you look at the zone table,
When you say 2 steps, you mean 2 meetings, 2 town meetings?
yeah, 2 town meetings, so you don't do table change and map change at the same time. And the reason why it would work well is because if you look at the zoning map, we are very limited on what we have from B2 zoning. And B2 zoning is really not changing. Whatever uses are allowed today are gonna remain. So it's the B1 zones that are going to be changed to be a bit more,
Yeah, and some moving towards B2
correct.
in the
So,
future.
correct. So if we did first step, changing the zoning table, and B1 zoning all of a sudden becomes more limited, you will have some properties like on Mendon Street that will be pretty limited on what they can do if they wanted to develop. Well, anticipate a lot of applications coming in on Mendon Street right now, and the rest of these B1 zones, I don't anticipate a whole heck of a lot of movement either. But by doing that, you're going to peel back what developers can do, which is good as an intermediate to then changing some B1 districts to B2, which will then bring back those options. But you wouldn't want to do it the opposite way. You wouldn't want to change like the whole town center to be, well, I mean, actually, if we just kept it the same, pretty much you can do pretty much anything in the town center right now. If you want to put in a gas station, you can do that, or through a special permit criteria, or car wash, or laundromat, or dry cleaning plant, all these things. So I think if we change the uses, you're not gonna open up the town to a whole bunch of issues with zoning in the intermediate while we wait for the next town meeting to start changing B1 and B2s. That would be my recommendation. As far as the limits go, I think, Don, you bring up an excellent point. And even then too, like if we focus on just the town center and leave Pulaski alone, which actually you wouldn't have to do any zone change for Pulaski, it's already B1. It would really just be in this area and this area right now that you would start changing some zoning. It might even make sense to, if we look at these residential lots, like Rose Ave Extension, these lots aren't going to become anything commercial. They're existing. I don't think you'd want them to be commercial. So zone change, we do some cleanup. So this is suburban, I believe. Or no, this is residential. Suburban, I think, is yellow. You change these lots. You're all getting rezoned to residential. It's going to be a lot of notification, which is going to get expensive, but that's
But the change provides protection, stops someone from coming in and buying 3 lots. Well, it stops what's happening north of town on 126. But those lots get bought, it's vacant for years until they get rolled into.
yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think the concern you have with lots like this on Rose Ave Extension, for example, like you said, so you buy these 3 lots here. Now you have a decent lot to develop something. And even if it's something that is, I would consider desirable, like a
Medical office.
like a mom and pop medical office. It's nice, it looks
Where does
residential.
high density housing fit in that zoning requirement?
There, as far as like the MBTA's.
Could someone buy those 3 lots knock down the residents and put up a high density.
They would have to go through the 40B process, and we're over a 10% SHU, so we can tell them to go sand if we wanted to.
Why do they have to?
Because there's no zoning avenue that would allow any type of high density zoning. We don't really, none of our zoning overlays. The only one now is the MBTA overlay. That's now over existing high density zoning or residential, and that high density residential was put in place through the 40B process. That makes sense. So, and that's another thing too. We have the ADUs that are allowed by right now, which it has to be a single family residential house. But we don't allow any other type of accessory dwelling. I think when we look at the town center district, in the future, it would be good to allow, not dense.
Let me redefine high density. I'm not thinking the big, what about a 4-story 12 unit?
No, because you would have to, let's see,
'Cause that was on Laura Higgins' list.
oh, lovely. What list?
In the article, she wanted to take the second means of egress out of the 4 or 6 floors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, lovely. So what you're saying would fall under other multifamily, because we have single family, 2-family, townhouse, other multifamily. Other multifamily is allowed,
Your recommendation, I think we're on the same page. Your thought is to change those current, for the B1
yeah,
to res-
yeah,
as a protection for the single family houses that are there.
yeah, because and not only that, they're already residential uses, they're not gonna change, unless somebody does just making that multiple of that.
So I guess the
Yep.
point I was making is I agree to prevent someone buying 3 lots and
Yeah.
combining them.
But to your point, Steve, too, would be under other multifamily, the only thing that they are allowed to do there is we have a multifamily district, and that is shown in the purple. I don't know why or the reasoning behind this, but this is this is not. Oh, this is it Oakwoods? Is that the development next to is it Circle C?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Oakwoods. And then this is that Hartford Village, which is the 55 plus development. These, in that district, that allows other multifamily through a special permit through the planning board in those 2 districts. Those are already developed, so there's not a whole lot. Actually, Tim and I were talking about this. It would probably make sense to clean up these lots to include them in the, I think that's the suburban district. But, you would, even in the B1 district as it sits, you wouldn't be able to purchase a bunch of these and make high density, all, residential. Is you're limited to,
And you could put a business in.
oh yeah, 100%, and that's why I think bring up a good point, changing that to residential. So like, this is just the limits of the B1, which I'm showing on that slide of keeping it B1, B2. But there's issues like this throughout town, this in particular, where it should be cleaned up. Where I know, like Rose Ave Extension, I'm very familiar with, these are small lots. If a business went in on these 3 lots, even if it was desirable, it would be a pretty significant change to the character of the neighborhood. I'm sure the residents would.
I agree with that. Not that I'm trying to squash business development. What can happen is those lots get combined and the business use that's currently residential migrates closer to the established housing.
Yeah,
And 10 years from now, someone winds up when there was 3 houses beside them, now there's industry.
So that was, these are kind of my thoughts looking at the maps and uses a little bit more in depth. And it's just a start, this is a good point of cleaning these up. I think a good first step, like I said, would be separating B1, B2. Sure. Rather than subtracting uses out of those districts.
So I think it makes sense from a strategy perspective to redefine, right? There'll be less pushback. And then I'm wondering, we just want to think of what is the potential downside to doing it. And I think it intuitively makes sense, but is there risk that you're setting up by doing that maybe we haven't considered?
Yeah, I think, so I don't know all of the, potential applications that could be in front of the board. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll get inquiries from certain, developers asking about how about, with this group in this zone and this. Like, I know I mentioned this lot that we did have discussions, I had discussions with the potential developer for that lot to put in a daycare center, which, obviously now in a residential zone where, B1 allows plethora of uses. Daycare, from side. Yeah, they are, yeah, exactly. So that would be, and plus they're right next to this residential development. So that would be good. So to answer your question, Don, I don't believe nothing at least comes to mind as far as any potential developments in this area. I know, like I said, we have a development, it's actually this one, I think, has this building, so a portion of it would be
And that's industrial right now anyway, right?
half industrial, half B1, and they're allowed, if it remained as B1, I think I have office as a use.
The big cranes get stored on the right and the business office is on the left.
No, that's, this is the office. Cranes 101 is a whole other story that I am not getting into in this meeting, but that's over here. Oh, you're talking about,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a discussion that has to happen. Contractor yard and rentals and stuff for this guy. But I don't,
Is that an agricultural spot, right? In the center, or is that a pond?
this blue thing?
Yeah,
I think
that's.
yeah. So I think because it's pretty much going to affect the B1 district as being more, having more constraints to a developer, having more constraints than looser constraints is gonna be better for us. If it deters a developer from submitting an application because now all of a sudden overnight it's not conforming.
Yep.
Well,
We it's not this like mitigation or whatever.
no,
It's just.
But, oh, current owners can freeze their zoning, right?
they could.
If we go and change.
They could. Which is why too, I think, public outreach would probably be beneficial in this case. I do not want to have another situation like these lots here where pretty much the planning board was crucified for being anti-small business, or trying to zone this. This is actually incorrect. I don't know why. This is industrial. It's showing us. That's not good. Yeah, that needs to get changed. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. That's supposed to be gray. This is industrial. It was proposed to be suburban. As much as I would love to keep it this color.
That's what the map says.
Yeah, so be it.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that's that's the gist of what I had. It sounds like it would probably be good to kind of take a look at some of these lots and see which ones are residential and which ones are businesses, and maybe discussing a little bit more. But the other thing too, I know I'm kind of giving you this, and what I'll do is tomorrow morning, I realize I didn't even see the public point, well, send that to you folks, so if you want to digest it, maybe we can,
Please.
at the next meeting, kind of figure out, have a little bit more in-depth conversation amongst all of us about maybe if there's any uses that you want to see in the use table, if there's other uses that you might think of that the town maybe should include in the future.
Sure.
I went through, I looked at Medway's and Franklin's zoning bylaws. Medway, I've used their examples numerous times in these meetings because they have, in my opinion, a very developed law. We have all this. There were a few uses in there that we don't have, that some of them are a little nitpicky. Like, for example, the personal care establishments, they actually took that from Medway. They have like um, breweries in their use table. We do not. We think it would just be covered under restaurants. So like that's where how much we want to.
Even if they don't serve food.
There's food.
A lot of them have food trucks.
What do you eat?
Huge.
Dinner, I would suggest adding data center or telecom. Not that I think anyone's going to build one, but you definitely don't want that type of facility in a residential neighborhood.
So actually, interesting you bring that up because
Someone wanted to build one.
no. But I've noticed so I get alerts from like LinkedIn. I think we all do, and a lot of times, like a job recommendation or something. And I've noticed that the data center telecoms city jobs, everything's kind of slowed down now. But for a while, those ones were popping up quite a bit.
It's been the biggest boom of data center building in the last 2 or 3 years than probably ever. Not here because power's expensive, land's expensive, yada, yada, yada. But the reason you don't want them near your house is because they have generators that are like
They have-
24 hours.
They have a lot of generators and they're big, 1 meg, 2 meg
And they
units.
test them all the time,
Yeah.
and they're noisy and loud. They don't bring any jobs, I guess is the other thing, if you're trying to.
I was gonna ask, what exactly is a data center? Is it pretty much just a building with computers in it?
With servers,
Yeah,
storage.
Yeah.
cloud conduit, and it pulls tons of power,
I believe that.
tons of power.
So probably not very stately.
No, and
No, I mean, I've never seen one in person, but like,
the ones that I've built have like 14 2 meg units. And a 2 meg is the size of a trailer, semi-trailer.
Yeah.
that's why they're all in Ohio and Northern Virginia and places like that. So we do have some data centers
And
here,
they're tall.
but
Yeah, and you're not gonna want. No, that's a great point because what we're finding, like for example, the battery storage stuff, they're now, because there's a need for battery energy storage in our infrastructure needs, even though they're less for central mass. Now it's needed here, so they now take a smaller scale, which is still not desirable for being next to residential houses.
I think that's a good example. We're kind of chasing our tail a little bit on the battery storage. So we have a proposal and we don't have zoning bylaws. So for data centers, I would just get ahead of it. That way,
I agree. Use the general.
You then have to address the sound rating.
Yeah.
Neighboring reception.
Would you think that it would be good to have that?
I mean, I think I would put it in an industrial district if you were going to do it,
Mhm.
but I don't know, I would hate to say no data centers because there are, like, so if you guys know Macy's in downtown Crossing, there's a data center technically on top of Macy's, right? You wouldn't really know it. So I think there are instances where you could have some sort of operation that's not a big mega one. So excluding it completely probably isn't the right thing to do. I'm not quite sure what the right thing to do
Well,
is.
let me ask you this, and I don't know.
It's like, with the
If
adult
we have
entertainment.
industrial B2 district or whatever, we allow data centers, can you confine it to just certain locations?
Well, my initial thought would be to include like a separation requirement, kind of like the townhouses where it can't be within 100 feet, or it has to be 100 foot buffer to a residential property. But,
The data center itself is a clean building.
hmm,
And when they operate, they're fine. To Liz's point, is the auxiliary power to keep them running can get disruptive.
yeah,
And you can mitigate that if your bylaws, I mean, they can squash the resistance down to near nothing. If they're told to do so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the likelihood of someone coming in here and saying, oh, we're gonna build 10 gigawatt data center, it's very unlikely to happen because
But in Massachusetts with AI and push, there's.
quantum computing and all that.
All kind of, I think it's a really good point if we can think about it.
Yeah,
we know how much the state has to initiative becomes
right, so maybe, I
requirements.
know, Rob, maybe reach out to some other towns that have it as part of their zoning bylaw to see how they've handled it.
Yeah, I think just, and my initial thought would be, because my concern, if it's on Williams Way, whatever.
Right.
Williams Way is, anything can go
That's our
there.
area, right?
But if you have like one of the industrial lots,
Yeah.
I hate the street.
Right on Main Street,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's the issue. Perhaps you have a clause in there that it's gotta be, 1,000 feet from residential property,
Yeah, yeah.
not,
Something where it boxes it in a way that still may allow it if someone did wanna build.
But it's, right.
Yeah.
Strict.
And you're gonna hit the noise requirements.
Yeah. Well, and that's like the noise requirements, the noise bylaw, it's an uphill battle with those, I found, is, although if they're testing the generators, I imagine they have to test them for a significant amount of time.
Well, aside from testing, they exercise them. And that is a scheduled, like 1 hour run.
Yeah, so they would be,
Every week, every other week at the same time.
yeah, so they would be required to.
And it's literally 24/7 operation.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's never downtime.
Yeah, I hear you.
The other thing we should think about maybe a little bit further in the future, and I don't know if anyone has been thinking about this here, but in order to run all of these data centers and all of these like high-powered facilities, there's been thoughts about like mini nuclear reactors to run these things. So it seems far-fetched,
No,
but
popular in some European countries now.
right. So they're talking about powering like EV factories and all these things that are drawing so much power with these nuclear, like these mini nuclear entities. I haven't heard of one being built. I don't know anything much more than just that one anecdote, but maybe we put it in like our 5-year plan, just.
We have in here electrical generating facility power plant, which is only allowed in the industrial zone, not to exceed 3. We have 2 in town, right?
Well, are they getting decommissioned?
Right. Oh, the one on Depot Street?
Yeah.
I think that one is not being decommissioned. That one is auxiliary.
It's just being used there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But do we want any nuclear?
well, that's not to exceed 2.
It's the new green.
No, not to exceed 2.5. Really throw a loop at them.
Just anyway, start thinking about that because the power grid is a very big topic of conversation in running, especially with AI and the cloud and capacity and all of those
That's
things.
gonna be really big. I mean, that's what they're pushing on engineering schools is the recommendation for kids in schools that are interested in getting into any AI related. This is the next 5 to 10, 15 years, it's gonna be huge. When I was reading something the other day in Europe, that's what just went in today. He said 10,000, those small mini plants. I guess they're really small. I mean, they can't describe it. These nuclear facilities are really small ones looking at. They replaced 10,000 wheels for a plant.
Oh, wow.
So they're so that's what they're beginning to think about. 10,000 of them. Now, this is reading States Magazine and they're saying this, but I was like, really? You got a windmill? Yeah, really? Yeah. Now, in Europe, windmills are very common.
Yeah.
You can drive for miles and miles. Holland, and see windmills everywhere.
Mhm.
But that was pretty eye opening.
Yeah, I don't think that's this round, but
No, but this 5, 10,
Eye on
15
it,
year
yeah.
strategic planning. I think
yeah, because if everyone's house is gonna have a mini nuclear reactor.
Yeah, George Jetson and.
All right, so throw on, drone deliveries.
Well, that's
Well, you
another
know,
And then
discussion.
self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do with those?
Well,
I
with
can't
Amazon
believe the
being,
self-driving
being
cars.
local, right, I think testing, drone delivery now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not doing it here, but they're doing it around,
Yeah.
yeah, because I've seen,
And pretty successfully too.
really,
Yeah.
So just put those in your future pile.
we had a drone over my house last night, just to bring it up, I don't know where it came from, but had a green light blinking. Yeah. There was this big military twin prop plane that flew 300 feet close to the Bellingham, like it. We all looked up as we were on the deck, I was like, it flew, what's over? I'm like, I wonder where it was going. It's getting like away from Boston. Wow. It's amazing. Anyway, impressive.
Anything else?
One more suggestion.
The schools?
One more suggestion.
Where's this?
You wanna talk about warehouses and space? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding, but kidding a little bit.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I digressed, but, I know under manufacturing, it has like manufacturing slash research. I'm wondering if we should call out laboratories and testing facilities, like a Quest Diagnostics is some, they're not really manufacturing, right? They're more,
Yeah, testing labs.
right, so probably still in the industrial zone. But they have very specific uses and like for laboratories, there's a lot of regulation around commercial waste.
Yeah, it's a lot of
like commercial chemical storage.
And they have chambers that will use the
Yeah.
heat and steam to sterilize.
And a lot of people don't like them next to their houses because the mechanicals are on the top of the roofs and all that kind of thing.
You feel like the Quest diagnostic places are really strip malls and stuff.
No, I'm
No, that's
thinking
the collection.
Marlboro where they do all the testing, like where all. Yeah. Yeah.
I always thought they did.
So
it
it's
in
gonna
the
be-
house.
No, it's like people in lab coats.
I worked on some lab tech in the 80s in that.
Yeah, yeah. I think just kind of sussing that out a little bit more because manufacturing dash research seems fairly broad, I would say.
I would agree. So that was under,
Industrial uses, I think.
manufacturing for on-site sales and other manufacturing slash research.
Then how does that play with the zone 2 and
The-
stuff like that?
Those are not allowed. Manufacturing for on-site sales is allowed in B1, B2, which I have to look at the definition for that because I think that would be more of a B2, not B1 thing, but I don't know what that would even entail.
Would that be like, oh, like you make buttons in the back of your store kind of thing? I don't know.
Yeah, if you get a bigger manufacturer.
Cars.
Too, so typically, right?
Yeah,
So I actually do work in one.
I mean, I would consider that reasonable.
There you go.
Yeah. Not far fetched.
If it's a pottery studio, I would consider.
The
You can see.
previous facility I ever heard of was up in New Hampshire, and they cultivate the rats for the vivariums.
No, I could give you way creepy on that. I've been into neurosurgery.
Oh, yeah.
We would do these neurosurgeon training programs. And we would order 16 beds.
Yeah,
And they come in and we kept them for the neurosurgeons, the office neurosurgeon. And they offered to give me a tour of where they come in. I was like, no, thank you. I don't have time dealing with this room, never mind.
yeah. No, but just thinking about a rat factory.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, lab mice, they get bred everywhere.
And Rob, do you hit your,
What was that?
can you go to Google Maps on that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It is creepy. You know you're in the wrong.
now
What is it?
they're saying AI is gonna replace it with the use, because they,
You need them.
you know, they can just do it
There you go. Just hit enter.
in, not in simple.
Accuracy is really better. Anytime you have a lot of
Satellite.
judgment or animal interactions, once the DNA sequence is
Big.
Yeah,
Zoom in right now on this building.
So what is that, Steve?
That's the digital data center in Needham.
yeah.
These are all generators.
And they're all
On the roof.
on the roof too. And they have to be open air for cooling or because the steam, I would think. That would be a
Well,
general.
it's just because you don't want it to go down, right? Because, you know,
But open air, right?
Yeah.
It's.
Those are big condensing units right on the top.
That's a huge condensing unit.
Yeah.
Look at that chiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would argue unless it's going somewhere in town far away from other things, probably won't want it. And again, I don't think anyone's gonna build one here, but
Every one of those.
You never say never.
You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. You never say never,
that's
because
true.
there's a lot of things that we didn't think we should keep it on.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good,
You all.
good.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. So with that, I don't know what you folks are. You know, pretty much the only other thing on the agenda was the minutes. I got some marching orders to get. We would have a more in-depth conversation, like I said. The next meeting.
So we're prepping for the November town meeting, right?
Yeah.
But aren't we already presenting something at that?
We are, and I would say, you know, this is gonna take a lot of thoughtful preparation, so don't.
So this might be for spring 2026.
Yeah, all I'm saying is let's come up with a plan. We don't wanna rush the plan because I don't wanna have another situation with like the battery storage or something where we might not have a lot of public input at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It'd be wise to appreciate the unintended consequences of these changes.
agreed. So I think, and we're making progress. That's the thing. It's not, it's a bit lagging, you know, we wanna be cautious.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we were gonna try to also present this at fall town meeting, but if not, that's probably a no.
Maybe, we might be ready, we might not, I would say.
Well, we have to give a notice, right?
Yes,
And is that 90 days?
it's, so we would need to have this in place. I think if it's November town meeting, the warrant will probably be opened in September. Actually, it wouldn't even open this month.
Yeah.
Close in September.
So that kind of, yeah, so
Yeah.
we should, I don't think we'll have enough time.
No, and we'll have the drive-through stuff, and I'll tell you what, I know at the last meeting, we were discussing a couple tweaks to that, maybe we can get that completely finalized at the next meeting, so that'll be ready to go, but, yeah, I think it'll probably open end of August and close end of September. Will be, yeah.
This committee's gonna run for
A long
a few
time.
years.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, at least.
yeah.
You'll never leave.
Oh, absolutely. I envision it's gonna take some time. I think, I
I
mean,
think the pace could be a little quicker just for, but I wouldn't ask, I'm not asking for it to, I think it's a good pace.
yeah, I think, well, we definitely started off a little slow, just trying to get through some of the more of the state mandates and kind of, I'll be honest, it's been a little bit of a learning curve for myself on the best way to approach this, because it's such a sensitive subject.
I think your point of splitting the definition changes from the zoning changes to 2 meetings. You pile that up in one, people are
Yeah,
Yeah,
And they may think that we're trying to,
sneak something.
yeah, do a bunch of,
gonna,
you
so that
know.
generates more
weird stuff.
noise.
oh, absolutely, yeah, no,
That's a
definitely.
good plan.
So next meeting, you're thinking,
Yeah,
6th or the 20th of August? Because 4 weeks is the 13th, but that's, I believe, conservation.
I was gonna say, if we can please leave week of August 18th out of the picture, because that is the 1 week.
Syracuse.
Oh, excellent, Steve's in Syracuse, can't schedule anything. It's currently the 1 week in August, and I do not. I'm keeping that leave a vacation.
So maybe the 6th then, because otherwise you're talking, quite a bit later.
Yeah, up to you, I know,
Zoning would be the next night, but that's okay.
well, ZBA, I don't think we're gonna have an August 7th meeting, because we don't have anything. It's gonna be,
Yeah, I'm not down with that. 6 would work.
yeah, I don't think we'd meet on a Thursday anyway, so. We could do August 6th, although, planning board is 14th and 28th of August.
And we have conservation on the 13th and the 27th.
Okay. I didn't know if we were off on August. This month is weird. Planning board and Concom aren't on the same week. I
Yeah,
never knew those.
So the 6th.
Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Okay. Right, August 6th. I was gonna say the stuff too is. Here, I'll get that info out to everybody.
Make a motion to accept last minutes as written.
Second.
favor?
Yeah, all in favor?
Any nays?
Excellent. Passes unanimously. And then I think that's pretty much it.
Shall we entertain a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Uh,
All right. Excellent. Yeah, right.